Hello, hello. Welcome to the place for offbeat health professionals who have bravely swapped their healthcare hats for non-clinical creative caps. I'm Caitlin, a psychologist turned copywriter, and this is Healers with Hustles. Hey healers, so I have a bit of a confession to make. Well, it's not really a confession, it's a little bit dramatic. But as I was making my morning plunger coffee this morning, I of course whipped out my phone to check my notifications in the 3 minutes that it takes to brew the coffee. And 2 emails had come through. The first email, the subject line read, "A busy June at company name." And the preview text, so the little bit of text below the subject line read, "Hi, it was a busy June at company name." Okay, cool. And the second email, the subject line read, "Caitlin, you're boring," with a surprise face emoji. And the preview text says, "How to fix this." Oh, snap. Now, which would you be more inclined to open? Probably the second one, right? Sure, it agitates a bit of fear or pain, but it's intriguing. Am I boring? If I am, I'd like to know how to fix it for sure. So 2 emails, one I'd like to open and the other one will probably gather dust in my inbox, or I'll probably just swipe left to pop it in the bin, the recycling bin. And that's copywriting for you, right? The second email uses a few copywriting techniques that I'll touch on briefly in a little bit, but I've got a bit ahead of myself. So let's rewind. What is copywriting? So copywriting is the writing of words or copy used in marketing or advertising that has the goal of getting people to take action. So an action could be anything. So that could be signing up to a newsletter, making a purchase, clicking a link, donating to charity, maybe booking an appointment, or following or subscribing to a podcast like this one. So if you haven't followed this podcast, go and do it now. And what do copywriters write? So we write anything, really. Anything that has words on it, a copywriter could write pretty much. So, that might be content on websites, blog posts, articles, emails, social media posts, advertisements, so anything in print or digital, radio, TV, product descriptions, sales pages, newsletters, video scripts, taglines and slogans, maybe menus, signage. We could probably even help you with text for your new tattoo. But there's a bit of a misconception that copywriting is just words on a page, but it's so much more than that. So if you picture an iceberg, you can imagine the words or the content as the top that's popping out of the water, and below that is a heck of ton of research, so understanding the target audience, so who the writing is speaking to, so what motivates them, their needs, their deepest desires, addressing their pain points, their objections, but then also choosing the right words that they need to hear. So the messaging needs to be clear and concise and compelling. And copywriters also know that different words elicit different emotional responses. So it's a little bit of an art as well. And not to mention lots of creative procrastination, but that's just between you and me. So as I was saying before, so there are pretty much 3 foundational elements of copywriting, or 3 foundational elements of copy. So that's being clear, so ensuring that your message and your content is clear and easily understood. So avoiding words that are really ambiguous or too jargony or just plain WTF. Being concise, so getting to the point quickly without unnecessary fluff, something that I'm still working on in my speaking. So for example, a fluffy sentence might be something like, "In order to ensure that you are completely satisfied with your purchase, we will be providing a comprehensive and detailed user guide that will help you understand every aspect of our product." But a concise version of that might be, "We provide a detailed user guide to ensure you're satisfied with your purchase." But maybe an even more concise version will be, "We provide a user guide so you're satisfied with your purchase." And then the third element is being compelling. So making sure what you write is relevant to an audience. And so it's emotive as well. Just like in the example in the email at the start, the second email, the person who sent that really knows their audience. They probably understand that a pain point might be that their audience think that they're boring. But the first one, didn't potentially no, or maybe I'm just not their audience, right? Maybe someone who is their audience might go, oh, wow, I'm really excited to hear all about their busy June. But a common mistake many business owners make is spending a huge amount, so investing heavily into the visual elements of their brand, which sure is super important, but what gets people to take action and buy or take any action is the actual words. So visuals stop the scroll, yeah, and make you go, oh, wow, that's amazing. But it's the words that convince people to take action. And like I was saying before, copy is emotive. There's a saying that people buy an emotion and justify that decision with logic. So, as example, I, of course, recently got into podcasting. So I wanted new microphones so I could look like the cool kids on TikTok, right? And there's a brand called Rode, which is Australian. And so I justified buying them because I wanted to support an Australian company and I knew they would be good quality. And so, sure, that the emotional pull of, oh, yeah, I really want these because maybe it's pointing to a deeper thing about wanting to look professional or some other emotive element. But it was the fact that they were Australian and they were good quality that got me to buy them and invest in them. And I'll touch deeper on a few of these elements, but if you're a small business listening to this and you want to know how to maybe tweak or improve copy, maybe that you've already got on your website, I'd say something that's quite important will be to understand the difference between features and benefits. So features tell and benefits sell. So features describe what a product or a service does, like its specifications or inclusions. Going back to my microphone example, so a feature would be that the microphone has a built-in pop filter. But then the benefit is, what does that do for the customer? Like, how does that improve my life? So an example of a benefit for the filter would be enjoy crystal clear audio recordings without any distracting background noise. But if you're to start working out the benefit, ask yourself, so what? So what? Why is it important that the microphone has a pop filter? Like, so what? Why does it matter? Why does it matter that my AirPods come in a case? Or you could even use the phrase so that. So feature, so that, benefit. And just to conclude, so even though copywriters might write content that is incredibly clear, compelling, and concise, and is very emotive and speaks to the customer, there might be a reason why people still don't buy or still don't take action. It could be a number of things, but something that I see is actually brand voice. So how the company speaks, so how it conveys its brand personality in words. That's something that I'll talk on in another episode. But just to recap, so copywriting is any words that's used in marketing, advertising, that gets people to take action. And copywriting involves research, knowing the customer, choosing the right words, and understanding how words elicit an emotional response. It's also really important that any copy is clear, concise, and it's compelling, speaks to the audience. And of course, that was a very, very speedy overview of what copywriting is. But if it sounds exciting or sounds like something that you want to know more about, well, you're in luck because I'll be dishing out little mini episodes twice a month about copywriting tips or just little wisdom nuggets that I've found have been helpful in my journey in my non-clinical creative business. So thank you so much. All right. That's the end of another episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to Healers with Hustles. If you've enjoyed today's episode, will you do me a tiny favor and subscribe to the show? Just tap the subscribe button on your favorite podcast platform and you'll be the first to know as soon as a new episode drops. Thanks so much for listening. Okay, ta-ta for now.